We're back with another UCL Fantasy video ahead of Matchday 7. This is the team selection. If there are any further changes, then I'll be making a final team selection video before the deadline. There will also be the best Limitless team as well as the deadline stream, so stay tuned for all of that. And if you have any ideas for other content for UCL Fantasy, then let me know down in the comment section below. And now let's get straight into the video. For those who didn't see the first draft video, I got 80 points in Matchday 6, so I'm around 1,826 in the world, and this is how my team did in Matchday 6. I'm not going to talk about it too much, but pretty much on the whole, in my starting 11, the only players who blanked were the Chelsea players in Mendy and Azpilicueta. Mendy didn't even play in that game, and my captaincy was a bit lackluster, but Danjuma did save me. That game got rescheduled, but Danjuma's 15-point return actually gave me a pretty decent week in the end. Otherwise, it would have been quite underwhelming. And Matchday 5, I would say, was pretty poor. Same with Matchday 1, but Matchdays 2 to 4 were very consistent. I pretty much nailed around 100 points each week using my chips like the Wildcard and Limitless. And I want to be aiming for something similar here in Matchday 7. But let's just get straight into the team selection. I'm going to show you what I had in my first draft and then talk about the changes I've made and also some news that has come about since the last video I uploaded for UCL Fantasy last week. The majority of my team has remained the same, so everyone that has been highlighted, those are the changes that I've made to my team. The rest is pretty much the exact same. My midfield, nothing has changed there. My attackers, the only change there is Mbappe. He's not in it right now. I have made a change there, but I still think Mbappe is a great option. I know some people might think Real Madrid will advance, and that's kind of a key reasoning why a lot of people have opted for someone else, maybe even Benzema instead. But if PSG can get to the level that we all know they're capable of, then I think they can go very far in the Champions League and they can beat Real Madrid. It's just a question of how they turn up on the day. And with Messi showing a bit of form, I think PSG have a serious chance of winning it, but it's going to be quite open in the air. Who knows what's going to happen? Real Madrid have the pedigree and history. PSG don't, but they do have a much better squad on paper. And looking at the rest of the team, the defense as well, only one change in there. Niklas Süle, thank you to some of the comments pointing out, even from Bayern fans, that Niklas Süle doesn't really have a good relationship with the manager, and that's why he has agreed to join Borussia Dortmund on a free. So yeah, Süle's gone as well. I really like him as a UCL Fantasy option, but he is gone, and there is going to be a key change in goal, and I'm going to be explaining why. And I think maybe the main kind of difference is Mbappe out for a certain player, which gives me more money to spread around the rest of my team. But it's a pretty decent squad. Let me know what you think of this team, and also which players are you going for? What are your captaincy plans? I talked about this in my first draft video. I'm going to be doing the same here today, and also the substitutions. We still have to take that into account. Now I'm going to show you the changes I've made and detail why I decided to make them. The changes I've made are as follows. So Vlahovic has come in for Kylian Mbappe, so he has been added to the game and he's only 9.5 million. Now, he is playing for Juventus, who aren't really that good at the moment, and they are facing Villarreal, so it's a pretty decent, tie from a fixture perspective and targeting Villarreal. But at the same time, I say they're quite evenly matched. You would still expect Juventus to go through, but Juventus aren't really the clear favourites as they normally would be. The midfield is exactly the same. I've also brought Alphonso Davies with that extra money in for Niklas Süle, and the key difference really in defence, or my defensive assets, is Ulrich coming in for Destanoglu, who I had before. Now, the reason why I have Ulrich is because Neuer is out between 4 to 6 weeks with a knee injury. So he's having surgery, I believe, and Ulrich should be the main keeper for that time period. And having someone from Bayern Munich, even if it's defensively, which I don't rate Bayern Munich defensively, I talked about this in my last video, but it's still good to have someone at 4.5 million, a goalkeeper playing for one of the best teams, and a pretty decent defence overall. I'll concede that having someone like him is pretty much kind of a short-term fix. So you're having him for pretty much the round of 16 and maybe the quarterfinals potentially. But beyond that, Neuer will come back into the team, and that's if Bayern make it that far. They do have Salzburg here. It's a good fixture. I think you can double up on Bayern defence, but I think one problem with this team is having that double Bayern defence. If they do reach the quarterfinals and beyond, the teams that they're going to face are going to be much tougher, and I don't really back Bayern for clean sheets like I would with Manchester City or even Chelsea. So that's something I have to think about. But I still like Cancelo. He's my captain for the first day. Remember, for any of you who are not aware, click on the date here and you can see on which day each single player is playing, and make sure that everyone on your bench is not playing on the first or second day. You want them playing on the 22nd of February, for example, and you can then bring them on when there's the substitution window, and that gives you more flexibility and also more chances of accumulating points. The same goes with the captaincy. You can switch it between every single day. So my plans right now is to captain Cancelo on the 15th of February, and then on the 16th I'll captain either Salah or Lewandowski, and on the 22nd of February I actually would be tempted to captain Vlahovic if needed, and on the 23rd Haller. So those are all my captaincy plans, and that depends obviously if my captains all fail or don't do that well and I want to just take another risk. And I think on the first day, if my captain doesn't really get 9+ points, then I would be tempted to kind of switch it, because I still have plenty of opportunities to actually nail the captaincy and get a very good score from it. But once we're approaching the end of the match day, so match day 7, that's when I would be a bit more cautious. So even if my captain gets 7 or 8 points, I would just hold the captaincy and not risk it. But that ultimately depends. There's a lot of factors that come into play. When you have someone like Lewandowski or Salah who are yet to play, I would be very tempted to captain even if my original captain gets 8 or 9 points. So that's kind of the way I play it. Sometimes it is, worth the risk, and it's a risk reward situation, but sometimes being cautious is the best way to go about it. I remember last season in match day 6, I had Immobile as my captain. I think he got 8 points, and then that PSG game, I think it was against Istanbul Basaksehir, that got rescheduled for another day, and I had Neymar in my team. I decided not to switch to captaincy and just stick with Immobile. Now, while he did get a decent return, Neymar ended up scoring very big, and I would have profited a lot more if I had actually switched to captaincy to Neymar. So sometimes taking that risk is worth it, but you just never know, and you have to try your luck sometimes. But this is my team right now. Not much has changed. I am still willing to change a few components, so double buying defense, I might steer clear of that and go for another defender, maybe even Otamendi, or just another cheap budget defender who offers a lot of value. But the problem with going for someone like Otamendi is I've got Haller, I've got Mazraoui, and I do back Ajax to go through. So a lot of this team is kind of based on different reasons. Value, also which teams do I think are going to go through, and also how good the player is UCL fantasy wise. So there's a lot of different components going into the making of this team, and a lot of these players, some of them could be knocked out, and that's why those of you who have the wild card, you can easily use it heading into the quarterfinals. However, just a word of advice for any of you who do have the wild card, do not use it in the second leg of the quarterfinals, the round of 16, or the semi-finals. Try to use it heading into the first leg of every single round. I think that just makes sense, and I probably would use it in either the quarterfinals first leg or the semi-finals first leg. So you were looking at match days 9 or match days 11. Those are the best times to use the wild card, in my opinion, from this point onwards. You also have the possibility of using it in match day 13 for the final, but I would pretty much use it either in match days 9 or 11. As for the Limitless, if you still have it, I probably would look to use it right now, because just like I said with the group stages, more of the weaker teams are still left in the competition. As we go further and further, games will be a bit tighter. We're going to have better teams on display, so the scores might not be as high, and I think it just makes more sense to use the Limitless maybe just now if you haven't used it in the group stages already, which in my opinion the best time to use it was around match days 2 to 5, any of those match days depending on your chip strategy. I already used my wildcard in match day 3, and that might have been a mistake as well. I did get a good score out of it, but I'm happy with the position I'm in, and a lot of people could chase me up actually because I don't have any chips available, but I still am confident in this team that I've assembled. And remember, we do have unlimited transfers heading into match day 7, aka the round of 16 first leg. Let me know what you think of my captaincy plans and also the players I have. I know quite a lot of you are actually looking at Vlahovic, and if we look at his ownership, he's still owned by 0% of the game. Now that will increase, but he will still be a differential by the time that Villarreal game is played. So he is actually worth watching. I do like having these differentials, and one thing I like about UCL Fantasy as opposed to FPL this season is that there's not really that strong of a template, and it's much more open and so many different options that it makes the game more interesting and flexible in a way. But at the same time, I think that there is still quite a lot of similarities between the two games. The ball recoveries obviously is always a welcome addition. I've always said this. I do like the fact that it does give these centre-backs and holding midfielders a bit more value than they would in any other fantasy format. But this is the team I'm stuck with at the moment. I could still make changes even in my midfield, which has remained unchanged in the last 2 drafts. That could still, there could be some changes. I think Salah would remain because of how good he is. Then we have Sane, he's been good all season. In the group stages, he was fantastic, so he could stay. Jorginho, Danjuma and Okafor, I would actually be willing to make some changes there. Let me know if you would make any, and who would those players be. Up front, Lewandowski will probably be a constant, but looking at the other two, Vlahovic and Haller, that could also change, and I could still bring Mbappe back or another premium striker. My defenders, I am willing or looking to keep Trent Alexander-Arnold and Cancelo, but the rest could easily change. Rudiger's looking good, but you don't need to double up on Chelsea despite that good fixture against Lille, who lost 5-1 to PSG recently. But it's a solid team, I think. There could still be some improvements, and if I do make some further changes, there's going to be a final team selection video, and you'll also see it in the deadline stream anyway if the changes are made that late. And there's also going to be a best limitless team video. Let me know if you want to see that. If you do, then let this video get to 150 likes, and then that video will definitely be coming out over the next few days. It's less than a week left for the deadline, so good luck for match day 7. Hopefully you have a great UCL Fantasy tournament, and also for FPL, if any of you play that as well, check out those videos that I make and live streams. I upload quite a lot every single week, sometimes up to 7 times or more per week. So thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, smash the like button and subscribe if you're new around here. You can also check the description below and see all the perks for the channel memberships. You can click join on the channel and you can become a member. And for example, if you become a legend, you get exclusive early access to all of my videos. You can also follow me on Twitter and Instagram, DylanRCM. So thank you to everyone who's already done so. The same for the channel memberships, all the super chats over the last few streams, and just good luck and enjoy the football. That's the main thing. And yeah, take care. Hopefully Champions League is going to be back with a bang. That Real Madrid PSG game should be very enticing. I can't wait to see that one. But until then, I'll see you next time.